The average grocery market is stocked with about 40,000 items. You're already familiar with many of them, but there's bound to be some foods that will make even a seasoned home cook do a double take. This is one of them. It's called textured vegetable protein, or TVP. While it's true you may have no idea what this stuff is or what it's used for, there's a good chance that you've already eaten this at some point in your life. And there's some really good reasons of why you might want to start cooking with it. Today I'm going to tell you all about textured vegetable protein and show you how to whip up some delicious recipes with it. So let's get TVPing. Hello and welcome to I Want to Cook. My name is Chef Matt and this channel is all about helping you be a better cook. And today we are delving into the world of textured vegetable protein. So let's start with the basics, and probably the first thing you're asking, what is TVP? So put simply, this stuff is dried soybean paste that is a byproduct of soybean oil production. So what happens is after the oil is squeezed out of those soybeans, this defatted flour is then heated, extruded, and dried. Now this stuff is also known as soy chunks or soy meat, the latter speaking to its ability to replicate meat in both taste and texture. Now this stuff is sold in various forms, including chunks, strips, and well, this stuff, granules. I think this is the most common form that you're going to find it, at least here in America, are these little dried granules that they almost look like breadcrumbs. This is textured vegetable protein. Now, in case you're wondering, the vegetable part of its name is a little bit of a misnomer because soybeans are technically legumes, but well, this can be made from other things, although it's usually legumes, but sometimes grains. I've only ever seen it here in America made from soybeans, which are also responsible for tofu. I should also note that TVP is technically a trademark of the Archer Daniels Midland company, which invented this stuff in the 1960s. TVP can often be found in stores in the baking goods section, or if you're lucky enough to have a store with a well-stocked bulk foods aisle, you might find it there. It usually costs around $6 or $7 for a 12-ounce bag, and again, if you can find it in bulk, that's often cheaper. Considering its nutrition and the way it's used, TVP is actually quite a value, so let's discuss that. So TVP can be used as a meat substitute for any recipe that calls for ground meat. So everything from chili and meatloaf to hamburger patties or ground meat for tacos, burritos, and the like. Basically, if you can think of any recipe that calls for, let's say, ground beef or ground turkey or ground chicken, well, this stuff should work. And that makes this a really good meat alternative for vegetarians and vegans. But even if you are a proud carnivore, there is a good chance that you've eaten TVP at some point in your life. This is really popular in both restaurants and commercial kitchens for use as what's called a meat extender. And that just means it's added to a ground meat filling to help it go farther, to extend it on a cost basis. Because this is not nearly as expensive as something like ground beef or ground chicken, well, this can make their food dollars go farther, and it's also quite nutritious too. To that point, it's low in fat, high in protein, and it contains fiber, which you won't find in meat. It also has a complete amino acid profile, and it's a good source of essential nutrients, everything from magnesium and phosphorus to iron, zinc, and vitamins B2, B6, potassium, and folate. Another great thing about TVP is it's gluten-free. So if you're gluten-free like me, this is another valuable ingredient to have on hand. And you can keep it on hand easily. This is shelf stable, so you don't need to refrigerate it or freeze it. You can just keep it sealed in a pantry and it'll last a year or more. And that makes it great for a number of applications, even outside the kitchen. Everything from camping, or if you are like a prepper and you just want to have those types of foods on hand that are shelf stable, high in protein, etc. Well, TVP is a really good option. Now, cooking with textured vegetable protein is super easy, but it's not quite so simple that you just take it out of the bag or your storage container and throw it in a recipe. You have to rehydrate it first. But if you can heat some liquid and then pour it over some TVP, well, you can prepare it. So here's how to do that. To prepare TVP, you simply need about a 1-to-1 ratio of TVP to hot liquid. So what I'll do here is pour out about 1 cup of TVP right into this bowl. And then I've got 1 cup of hot broth here that I will just pour right in, just like so. Then we are simply going to stir it up and let this sit for about 5 to 10 minutes for all of that liquid to absorb. These granules will swell to about twice their size, and 1 cup of dry TVP is equal to about 1 pound of meat once it's soaked. And of course, you can play with the ratios more if you want your mixture drier or wetter. So our TVP has been soaking for about 5 minutes, and as you can see, the liquid is absorbed, and well, it kind of looks and has the texture of ground meat, particularly something like ground turkey or ground chicken. And here's where you might be thinking, okay, it kind of looks like meat and, you know, it has that texture of meat, but what does it taste like? Well, I guess that's kind of both a blessing and a curse of TVP because, well, it's pretty bland. But let's be honest, so is ground turkey and ground chicken. See, I think this whole neutrality, or what you might call blandness of TVP, is more blessing than curse, because really this is a culinary chameleon. The beautiful thing about TVP is that it can take on just about any flavor you want. So if you're adding it to, let's say, a ground meat mixture like for tacos, and you put a bunch of taco seasoning in and mix in aromatics, maybe some onions and some mushrooms, well, frankly, it's delicious. And not only does it taste like a traditional, let's say, ground meat taco filling, well, it looks like it too, and it's packed with nutrition. And of course, it's meatless. Or you can always just add it to your meat mixture to extend it. I've been experimenting with this stuff a lot lately, and I'm really pleased with the results. I've made meatloaf with it. I've made the aforementioned taco meat, and well, it's really, really good, and it's so easy to work with. And I just love that I can always have it on hand. If you've ever gotten frustrated by meat that's gone bad or spoiled, or you have to take out of the freezer, well, this solves a lot of those problems. And although I'm not necessarily a vegetarian or a vegan, I appreciate that this stuff is, and it's a great option for those who are, or if you're looking for a way to make your food dollar go farther, you can just add this to your ground meat mixtures. I think it's really convenient. Now, one tip for using TVP is adding broth when you rehydrate it, because that's going to bring more flavor and even more nutrition to the party. So yeah, you could just use like some boiling water to rehydrate it, but using something like vegetable broth or chicken broth or beef broth is only going to enhance it and add more flavor to whatever you're cooking. So there you go, there's a little TVP 101. So next time you pass by this stuff in the store, you're going to know exactly what it is, and better yet, you might just pick some up and try it. If you do, let me know what you think. Have you enjoyed using this, or do you plan on experimenting with this? Put that in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on textured vegetable protein. Okay, trivia time. Last week I asked you what type of pan this is, and several of you got the answer correct. This is, of course, a crepe pan. Hey, you know, we made crepes not too long ago. We used that vintage electric crepe maker that I found at a thrift store, and that was a lot of fun. Well, you don't need any electricity for one of these. This is just a crepe pan, and this is especially designed for making those light, fluffy crepes. Yum. For this week's culinary trivia, we are headed back to the produce aisle and get a load of this guy. Look at this beauty. What is it? If you know what this is or you have a guess, be sure to put that in the comments below, and I will, of course, let you know the correct answer in the next episode. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Until next time, I hope you want to cook.